Hello and welcome to Cooking the Books with Heather. On this episode, we're going to be working from Vivian Howard's This Will Make It Taste Good, and we're going to be making something once again with the sweet potential, the apple sweet potential that we made recently. I'll link that up here. It's basically sort of fruit and syrup. If you don't have it, you could use jam or fruit preserves. It'll be fine. Basically want something very sweet. Like I said, ours is apple, but it also has some lemons in there. And I'm using these here. I didn't bother taking those out because we're going to first puree this. So I'm going to do that right now. She says in a blender. So I have, there we go. Lock that in place. Whatever. We'll see if I can get that to come down. And I'm just going to puree it as much as I can. Looks pretty good. That's an interesting color. It's almost like applesauce. Now let me take this away and we'll continue making what is basically a glaze that's going to go on our salmon. Pretty sure I said we're making the sweet heat side of salmon. So it's a whole side of salmon. And we're making this a little bit early because we want it to be light outside because we're going to be working on the grill. So now we're going to combine some things with our sweet potential that has been pureed, that I'm going to try to get as much out of this as I can. This is a nice thick mixture now. One of the things we're adding here is some water, which I just used the same measuring cup that I used to measure this. So I'm just going to put the water in here to try to get some more out. Clean it up a little bit. That's better. That makes me feel better. So we've got water and sweet potential. And the only other things we need to add to this are some roughly chopped garlic. I may have a little bit more than she calls for, but it's okay. And then some thinly sliced jalapeños. Now, she does not say to take the seeds out. I, however, did. I cut them in half, took the seeds and membranes out. I think it would probably be great with the spice, but I'm trying to make sure that my children will eat this, and they do not like spicy. So I'm trying to make this have the flavor of the jalapeños without the spice. Because yes, jalapeños are not very spicy, but they're children. Anyway, so we should get the flavor, but less of the spice here. Now, all we're going to do with this, I'm not going to show you it because it's just boiling. So we're going to bring this to a boil and we're going to boil it for about 15 minutes. Actually, pretty much exactly 15 minutes. She says until most of the water is cooked out and things look glazy. So we'll be back to do a little more to this after 15 minutes. All right, so this has been cooking a little less than 15 minutes because I cooked it a little bit higher than she said. She says medium heat. I had it a little above medium, but that's okay. It's not burnt, but it is pretty glazy, pretty reduced. So now I'm going to add some soy sauce and quite a bit of apple cider vinegar. She says you can also use white wine vinegar. I think it was white wine vinegar if you prefer. But since we used apples, why not go with the apple cider vinegar? And now we're going to reduce this. We're going to put this back on medium heat and reduce it some more until it is again glazy. So I'll let you know how long that takes. She says just a couple minutes, so I'll keep an eye on it this time. Okay, while the glaze is glazing, I've got my salmon here, my side of salmon, and I'm going to basically just rub it down with some olive oil. I think all of it. So I'm going to use as much of this as I've measured it out, but I'm going to use as much as I think it needs. I think I might wipe it down or like put some paper towels on it because it was frozen when I got it, so it might be have a little moisture on the outside. I'm going to cover both sides with oil. I've got our grill heating. She says to 400. It's already heated. I have my stagehand doing that for me. We're going to do it on a gas grill. She says you can do this in the oven, but it'll just be missing a little something. So but I'm going to go ahead and get this all covered in. It's pretty good. There's aren't sometimes salmon I've been getting lately has a lot of scales on it. But this does not seem to, which is great. And now, there we go. And then I'm going to use the rest of this. I'm going to put a paper towel in it and oil the grill grates right before we put this on. But let's see if we're ready to finish up our glaze. All right, so I'm going to add the last ingredient. I'm going to call this pretty much done, but I'm going to keep it warm. I was going to leave the lid on to keep in as much liquid as I can. She says to take it off the heat, whatever. It's supposed to be warm when we put it on our fish. I'm going to just keep it on my low keep warm setting. The last thing we need to add to this is some lemon or lime juice. This is lime juice. If I'd remembered that there was lemon in the sweet potential, I probably would have chosen lemon, but it's all right. It'll be fine. So we have our glaze ready. I'm going to put it back on the stove just to keep warm, but I'm going to leave it open so it might reduce a little bit more, but not a lot. This is our grill. It's a charcoal grill. I'm going to take this off, put it down here, and got the rest of my olive oil that I'm going to put the salmon on the non-hot side, well, the side where the charcoal is not. So the charcoal is on one side. I'm going to put the salmon as far away as I can, but you know, it is what it is. I'm going to try to get some oil on this, and I probably should have brought the tongs, but whatever. I'm going to brush the grates with the oil. It's hot. And the last thing I'm going to do is salt the salmon. So I've got quite a bit of salt. I'm just going to put it all over the top. I'm not going to worry about salting the skin. I'm despairing of any of the skin actually coming off of the grill, but we will see what happens. She says it's fine, because in the end, we're going to put a glaze on this and a bunch of salad green type things, and it will cover up any of those mistakes. So now pick this up and put I've got the thicker side sort of towards the heat, and we're going to, since I have yucky hands, I'm going to get my assistant to put the lid on this. That's pretty much as far away as I could get it. And now my grill master is going to watch this. Actually, we're going to do nothing to this. We're going to let it go for 20 minutes. And then it will be done. So we'll show you what it looks like in 20 minutes. And I'm going to go wash my hands and get prepared for this being all done. This is supposed to be at 400 degrees. We're a little higher than that. So he's going to adjust as much as we can to take the temperature down a little bit. So it's been 20 minutes. My grill guy was kind of babying this to try to keep the temperature around 400 because it was going up pretty high. So here we go. I think it looks pretty good. Oh yeah. So she says the edges, the sides will be a little more done, and the middle be a little more rare. Honestly, I don't think any of it's too rare. And now we have to take this off. She said this is going to be the scariest thing you do all day, and she's not wrong. Use 2 of your biggest spatulas, and if it falls apart, it's okay. Anyway, so I don't have a good, you take this. I don't have a really good serving platter, so we're just going with this. So I'm going to try to, oh, it's actually coming off pretty easily. I'm shocked. Okay, I think this is going to work. There we go. We have it off the grill. So we'll see you inside to finish this up. So while both of these things are warm, our glaze, which looks like this, and our salmon, I'm going to slather the salmon with the glaze. I'm just going to put a bunch on top and then use this to kind of just spread it around. Make sure it all gets covered. I'm not going to use all of it because I don't think we need all of it, but we'll have extra for serving, dipping. Leftovers could get a little extra. We'll see. All right. So that is it for the salmon itself. Now we're going to make a bit of a salad to go on top. So I'm going to move this out of the way. And I've got, that's good, arugula and some radishes. So these have been very thinly sliced. I used my mandolin, and it's quite a bit of them. And some mint leaves. So this is one of the few times in these books that one of the little things that you get from the grocery store is enough herbs. And then we're going to add some more lime juice. Whoops. Just have a little bit left over. And a little bit of salt. There we go. And I am just going to toss this with my hands because why not? There's no oil in this, but I don't think some would be amiss if, you know, you wanted to add some olive oil. But there is, you know, some on the salmon. So trying to spread out those. And there's no pepper in this recipe at all, but you'll get pepperiness from the radishes, which really want to stick together. I use my mandolin, cut them really, really thin. You can just use a knife and it's fine. And so we're gonna pile this on top, and I'm gonna take some pictures before I do that and after, and so you'll see what it looks like in just a minute. On this episode of Cooking the Books with Heather, you watched me make Sweet Heat side of salmon from Vivian Howard's This Will Make It Taste Good. And this used our sweet potential that we made previously. Ours was apple. You can use whatever kind you have. And we made it on the grill. So it is now like 5:30 and we are done with dinner. So we had an early dinner. so we could film outside while there was still light. This was really delicious. Everybody in the family loved it. The salmon came off of the grill perfectly. I was absolutely shocked. This never happens for me. It all came off in one piece. The skin was super crispy, which we love. We love a crispy salmon skin. And the glaze was sweet, and it was a little tangy because of the vinegar. Ours didn't have any heat. The kids did not complain at all about that, although one of them complained about the radishes being spicy. I don't understand. They're a little peppery, but certainly not spicy. If you do keep the seeds, it might be a little bit spicy, but the sweetness generally helps balance the spice. I just didn't want to potentially waste a good bit of salmon by having the glaze be too spicy for the children. Next time I might try it with the jalapenos and just see. I mean, with the seeds from the jalapenos and just see. But if you do try that, let me know in the comments down below what you thought, if you thought it was at all spicy, and you know what your heat tolerance level is, because if you can tolerate heat very well, sometimes you don't taste it when others do. We'll just say that, because my husband has a higher heat tolerance than I do. Anyway, we really enjoyed it. I thought it was perfect as far as timing goes for the salmon. So I would definitely make this again. So if you enjoyed watching me make this, please give me a thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, share with your friends, and come back and watch me make something else next week.